Good morning, students. Today's lecture is hypolipidemic drugs. So, these are drugs which decrease the level of the lipids from our body, and it needs biochemistry. We have the biochemical, markers for their investigations and for their response. I am taking this lecture in two parts. Myself, Dr. Ghulam Loan. I will take these two lectures. First of all, I will generalize it. Then there is a need to specialize the drugs. Now, introduction. Hyperlipidemia is a condition, excess of fatty substances called lipids, largely cholesterol and triglycerides in the blood. So when these lipids are largely cholesterol and triglycerides in excess, we call this hyperlipidemia. It results from the abnormalities in lipid metabolism or plasma lipid transport, or a disorder in the synthesis and degradation of the plasma proteins. So how much we take, how much it is stored, and how much it is transported. If there is some disorder in the synthesis or degradation of plasma lipoproteins, so this hyperlipidemia exists. So first of all, we have to have a biosynthetic pathway of these lipids, and this lipid transport, how it takes place, and what is the degradation mechanism of these lipoproteins, and what is biosynthesis, how it is being absorbed, how it is being distributed, how it is being excreted. So this whole balance depends upon this. So that is why this is a disorder in the synthesis and degradation of the plasma proteins. Now this is the serum lipid level, milligram per deciliter per 100 ml, and then we have risk of CORD and IHD accordingly. So this is very important to note down, because these are the guidelines which are very important. This is called as the NCEP, National Cholesterol Education Program. Like every doctor is supposed to know this medicine level. Now, if we say the blood pressure, how it is going to decrease, this is the effect. Now here, how much is the TGs, how much is the VLDL or LDL? Accordingly, we have these guidelines, and because the risk factors, because of the CAD and IHD, which is the cardiovascular disease, and if it happens, this the guideline we have to make. What is the total cholesterol level, and how it is to be visualized, and how much it is to be graded. So total cholesterol, if it is less than 200, it is desirable. If it is 200 to 239, it is borderline. If it is more than 240, it is very, very high. It is total cholesterol. If HDL-C is less than 40, it is low. Consider less than 50 milligram per deciliter as low for a woman. And if it is higher than 60, it is high. If it is LDL-C, it is less than 70, and this is the optimal for every high risk. Minimal goal for CHD equivalent patients. So less than 100 is optimal. 100 to 129 is near optimal, is of the LDL. And 130 to 159 is borderline. 160 to 189 is high. And if it is more than 190, it is very, very high. Like this triglycerides is less than 150 is normal. 150, 199 is the borderline. And 249.9 it is high, and above 500, some have 1,000, 2,000, 3,000, it is very, very high. But this is called in the biochemical terms as the lipid profile. Lipid profile. So lipid profile we have to do initially and intermittently, and it shows us the response. And taking other things into consideration, if it is the patient is having blood pressure, patient is having diabetes, so we have to make these things clear, and a doctor should know what level I have to obtain of it. And the decrease in the percentage, it is 5 to 20, 30%, it is decreasing, and from the baseline, and the doctor has to monitor this, very, very important for the response. So what causes of hyperlipidemia? The dyslipidemia is because of the vessel, it becomes very thick and sometimes it bursts and there is bleeding and there is, I would say, death, and there are primary causes, secondary causes, and that you take. So what caused the hyperlipidemia? It is the lifestyle, urbanization. A person is going from village to urban area where he does not move apart, because nowadays we have seen that we move the motor car, we don't move ourselves. That's why we become obese. We have to make a manual work. So lifestyle change is there. You get more money, your lifestyle changes. You go to the cities and lifestyle changes. So we have to change this pattern. And diabetes mellitus is also cause of hyperlipidemia. Kidney disease is also cause of hyperlipidemia. Pregnancy, hypothyroidism, genetically also it is engineered. Alcohol, if we take a lot of alcohol, it is also a hyperlipidemia process. So drugs like we have thiazides, like cyclosporine, like we have glucocorticosteroids and beta blockers. And we don't give these, if a person is having the hyperlipidemia, we don't give beta blockers because beta blockers precipitate. And we have to see if it is taking glucocorticosteroids and cyclosporine. These all drugs, produce hyperlipidemias. Now the risk factors. We have to see age. If there is a male above 45 years of age or female above 55 years of age, and this is the risk factor. Then we have family history of the premature, CHD. If there in the family there is a CHD, heart disease, chronic heart disease, a first degree relative male less than 55 years of age or female less than 65 years of age, and the first CHD clinical event occurs. So we have to see anybody from your family is suffering or was suffering, then it is the family history. So current cigarette smoking defined as smoking within the preceding 30 days. So if you are doing the lipid profile and the patient has taken cigarette smoking is a chronic use for 30 days, it is because of that. So you have to tell the patient, don't smoke, don't go for cigarette smoking. So hypertension also, blood pressure 140/90 or use of antihypertensive medication, irrespective of blood pressure. It also has a tendency that hyperlipidemia is there. Low HDL is less than 40 milligram because it is a very good high HDL is a protective, lipoprotein and this cholesterol. It should be more. Consider less than 50 milligram per deciliter as low for women. Obesity, body mass index more than 25 kilogram per meter square, and waist circumference it is more. You have to measure it. More than 40 inches for men or 35 inches for women. Where say obesity, this is the obesity. Obesity is through the BMI, body mass index, or it is because of the circumference of the waist. Type 2 diabetes, like NIDDM, we have to see this also as the precipitating factor. Now hyperlipoproteinemias, there are two causes, primary and secondary. Primary we have two, it is in two subsets. First is a single gene defect is familial and called the monogenic or genetic. It is a single gene and we say this is a monogenic or genetic. It is hyperlipoproteinemia. And number two is the multiple genic, dietary and physical activity both, related causes. That's called a polygenic or multifactorial. So it is the monogenic or polygenic. So these are the two primary causes. Number two types of primary hyperlipoproteinemias we have to categorize into, type 1, second, third, fourth, and fifth. Only second is in the two forms, in the second A and second B. In the first, if familial lipoprotein lipase deficiency is a very rare, and elevated plasma lipoprotein is there, chylomicrons. It is increase of chylomicrons and TGs more. So we call that familial. Then the familial hypercholesterolemia, it is less common. It is LDL. So CH at that time, it is elevated, is LDL. At that time, chylomicron is more, but TGs are, normal. So polygenic hypercholesterolemia, it is commonest. LDL is more and cholesterol is it is CH is cholesterol is more, but TG is normal. So here in second A and second B, there is a normal TG, but in the familial hypercholesterolemia, there is a more increase of the cholesterol than in the polygenic. So familial beta lipoproteinemia, it is rare, where there is more ideal intermediate density lipoproteins, chylomicron remnants. It is both more, but not that much more. And we have hypertriglyceridemia. It is common. VLDL is more at that time, and it is cholesterol is normal, but TGs are more. Our familial combined hyperlipidemia, it is less common. At that, VLDL and LDL is, elevated, and both cholesterol and TGs are elevated, but in equal proportions. So these are the types of the primary hyperlipoproteinemia. Now, secondary associated, it is because of diabetes. There is a secondary association of that these lipids are more, and myxedema in diabetes, in thyroidism, it is myxedemia is there, and nephrotic syndrome also is a secondary association, and drugs, corticosteroids, oral contraceptives, and beta blockers, they are also secondary secondary association with hyperlipoproteinemia. Now, lipids. What are lipids? If you define the lipids, these are the heterogeneous group of compounds related to fatty acids, which are insoluble in fatty acids and are source of energy. So lipids are they are not homogeneous, they are heterogeneous, but they are insoluble in fatty acids and are source of energy. Lipoproteins, these are the spherical particles of the water-soluble proteins that transport neutral lipids through body fluids. So lipoproteins are water-soluble, but they transport the neutral lipids through body fluids into the other parts of the body. So this is a structure, is a protein, lipids, there is a protein, there is a cholesterol ester, and there is a cholesterol, and then we have a triglycerides is there, and phospholipids is there, phospholipids is everywhere in the membrane. Now this is the lipoprotein, and there are 6 like chylomicrons, remnants, and then we have VLDL, IDL, LDL, HDL, and they have got a different diameter in nanometers. Like chylomicrons, we have 100 to 150, 100 to 500, and it is lipid obtained is TG is more than cholesterol ester, and sources of lipids, diet, and it is function is dietary TG transport. And chylomicrons remnants, we have less than this diameter. It is 30 to 50 nanometer, and CHE is more than TG. In higher case, there is a TG more, but it is CHE is more, cholesterol ester. And this is diet chylomicrons and dietary chylomicron transportation is the function. VLDL is less, it is intermediate, it is 30 to 50 is more, it is 40 to 80 diameter. TG is more, you see, VLDL में TG ज़्यादा है, and liver, it is in the liver, VLDL. So it is very, we have to see this level is very important. This is called the endogenous TG transport. So what the TG is there, it transports the, TG, VLDL. IDL also, it is 30 to 35, almost it is chylomicron remnants diameter size. So CHE is more than TG here, and VLDL is the source of lipid and transports CHE and TGs to liver and source of LDL. LDL is 20 to 25, so CHE is lipid obtained, and IDL is the source of lipid, and transportation is cholesterol to tissue and liver. HDL is 5 to 10, this phospholipid, CHE, and tissues and cell membranes, it goes there, and removal of the CH from the tissues, chylomicrons, cholesterol from the tissues. So HDL is very important. It is, if it is HDL, it is because of the tissue and cell membrane consistency, and it is the removal of the CH from the tissues. So these are the 6 types of the lipoprotein class. Now this is the lipid metabolism. You have already gone through the because the lipid metabolism, I have told you metabolism of the lipids where there is a defunct, where is the absence of enzyme, and the drugs or the red ones where the drugs are acting, and I will enumerate them mechanism of action at the proper when I will enumerate their separate identity when I go through the drugs separately. So there is the lipid metabolism, exogenous and endogenous. Endogenous, it is consisting of it goes to liver, to testes, to ovaries, to adrenal medulla, and it is bound to the special protein, and it goes to the from cholesterol point of view, it goes the intracellular. So they are their receptor is inside the cell in the nucleus, right? And then we have a dietary fats. Then we have the liver, the site of storage, and where it goes from liver to blood, and from blood to to peripheral parts, from liver to blood and blood to peripheral parts. So all this is where there is a dysfunction, and there we have lipid metabolism. So when there is a metabolism process is hampered, there is hyperlipidemia, and when there is a less excretion, so treatment part comes into play. So the treatment strategies we have to make. Lifestyle, first of all, you have to tell the patient, and you have to tell about lifestyles. Go for the walk, go for the exercise, and then after that you have to go for the medication with regular exercise. And then we have to reduce the obesity. We have to reduce the body mass index, BMI, and stop smoking and alcoholism if the patient is taking cigarette, if the patient is smoking, and if the patient is on alcoholic and then we have to restrain the diet. We have to restrict to the diet system, and then restrict to intake of the saturated fat. We take the fish intake, oily sea fish, because that are antioxidants. That is, we have the egg, tuna, and mackerel. We have to take plenty of fruits. We have to take and vegetables. These are the antioxidants. Now, clinical guidelines recommend the drug therapy to be started along with the lifestyle change. So, first of all, lifestyle change. If the patient is not, going through the these guidelines, then you have to add some drugs. First of all, we should not prescribe drugs. We should tell the lifestyle change. Then therapy to be started along with the lifestyle change. Then drugs plus lifestyle change in patients with IHD or in patients with having LDL greater than 130 milligram per deciliter. So per deciliter is per 100 ml. So you have to start when the patient is having 130 milligram per deciliter greater LDL, because these are the clinical guidelines which accordingly act upon. And the goal of the treatments are lowering LDL cholesterol, reducing total serum cholesterol and triglycerides, increasing HDL. These are the goals. Lowering LDL, reducing total serum cholesterol and triglycerides, and increasing HDL. These are the goals. You have to go through the chart of the biochemical investigation of lipid profile, and accordingly you have to chart out the program. So first is lowering LDL, then reducing total serum cholesterol and triglycerides, increasing HDL. These are the goals of the treatment. Now, the LDL cholesterol goals and cut points or therapeutic lifestyle changes. This is called the TLC, and drug therapy in different risk categories. So risk category we have first, and then we have goal, and then we have initial TLC. TLC means therapeutic lifestyle changes, and then consider drug therapy. So this is the chart. You have to go through this, and risk is very, very high. The goal is less than 1.8 millimole per liter, because LDL has two values. In some countries it is millimole per liter, and in some countries it is milligram per deciliter. That's why it is less than 70. Millimole per liter is less than the milligram per deciliter. If you convert this, it is to be converted also, and there is a that conversion factor. But here you remember it is 1.8 is millimole per liter, and less than 70 is milligram per deciliter of this LDL. And initiation TLC means lifestyle changes is we have to 1.8, then equal to 70, not more than equal to 70 you have to keep it. So consider drug therapy when it is more than 70 and 1.8 at that time. So same is the case if there is a ACSC or CHD or their diabetes is there or multiple CRFs are there, I mean say these abnormalities are there, then it is high. It is less than 2.6 or less than 100. Then we have to consider the drug at that point of view. So this is the gradation. So moderately high, it is less than 2.6 or less than 100. We have to see if they consider drug at that time also. And if it is a moderate, less than 3.4 or less than 130, if it is the unitage of the LDL, at that time we have to see, I mean say the target should be 4.1. And lower, it is less than 4.1 or less than 160, and then we have our target is 190. So this we have to see accordingly. You can say that the more, if it is the very high and it will come with the drug abruptly, no, it does not, because you have to, your primary aim is to, I mean say not to deteriorate the condition of the patient. And what are the target points, and you have to consider the drug therapy at that time or lifestyle. So this is just LDL cholesterol goals. What are the goals and how these goals can be achieved? This is a scientist or a doctor is also scientist. What is their goal? How he considers the drugs? This is very important. And you have to take one unit, that's LDL here into consideration. So ACS is acute coronary syndrome, CHD is coronary heart disease, CRF is coronary risk factors, DM is diabetes mellitus, and LDL. These are the, I would say, complaints. These are the, I would say, diseases. And according to these diseases, we have to consider what are the, I would say, risk categories. Same over here. So if the LDL level is, this has been revised in NCEP, National say Cholesterol Education Program. So this very high risk is atherosclerosis, multiple risk factors, diabetes mellitus, poor controlled single factor, acute coronary syndrome, metabolic syndrome. These are the risk categories, and these are under these conditions you have to, I would say, give the patient some threshold. Some, I would say, it is not abruptly coming down. TGs or VLDL or HDL will increase abruptly. It is a slow process. It is a slow process, and sometimes the drug resistance is there, and we have to give the 2 drugs at a time, or even one drug for a longer period of time. So primary prevention involves management of risk factors to prevent first ever CHD event. So it is a primary prevention involves management of risk factors. So the first ever CHD event should not occur. So secondary prevention patients are those who have had a prior CHD event and whose risk factors are treated most aggressively. So primary is that CHD should not occur. Now it has occurred. This is secondary prevention. Then your aim is that whose risk factors are treated most aggressively. So we have to give them aggressive treatment. We have to treat it aggressively. Then recently the concept of the primordial prevention has been applied to CHD prevention. So there is the primordial. Number 1 is primary, number 2 is secondary, and number 3 is primordial. And the primordial prevention guidelines include 150 minutes per week moderate intensity exercise. So when it is a primordial, you have to have introduced the, I would say, 150 minutes moderate intensity exercise walking, 20 to 30 minutes. Then at that point of time, dietary recommendations also is included. Reduce total calories from fat less than 30% and saturated fat to less than 7% to avoid trans fat. So consuming less than 300 milligram the cholesterol per day. So this is we have to maintain. A variety of the oily fish twice a week or more often, and oil and foods rich in linoleic acid, canola, flaxseed and soya bean oils, flaxseed and walnuts. and restricting sugar beverages less than 36 ounces per week or for a person consuming 3000 kilocalories. So dietitian comes into being. The dietitian role with the doctor is very important. Accordingly, the primary or secondary or primordial prevention guidelines are there, and you have to only then the drug therapy will be successful. So these are the interventions which you have to go for the exercise, go for the dietary control, you have to reduce the calories, and you have to lessen the fats. These are the restricted sugars, and lifestyle change you have to change. Now these are the drugs. Mostly I will talk about the drugs in the next lecture, but so far as the classification is concerned, I will classify them. Hypolipidemic drugs are several different classes of drugs are used to treat hyperlipidemia. These classes differ not only in their mechanism of action but also in the type of the lipid reduction and the magnitude of the reduction. So the drug therapy varies. It depends upon the mechanism of action of the drug and also the lipid reduction and the magnitude of the reduction. So lipid reduction, how much you want to reduce as per the protocol and as per the person, and the magnitude of the reduction also varies. So these are the classification of the hypolipidemic drugs. First line therapy is HMG-CO reductase inhibitors, that's called the statin. Under this heading comes lovastatin, simvastatin, pravastatin, atorvastatin, rosuvastatin, and pitavastatin. So these are the drugs which you have to remember, and accordingly these drugs you have to see. These are called the HMG-CoA reductase. If you will fill the full name,